Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to Elevated Energy Coaching. My name is Erica, and I am here to help you elevate your energy. So today I want to talk about the show Beef. So today I'm going to give you my review of one of the most talked about shows on Netflix currently. I believe at the time of this recording it is number 2, and it is their show Beef. Ooh, it was so good. It was such a fun ride. It was the perfect example of a downward spiral manifestation. Just of like the perfect example of the law of attraction working in reverse. So in the show, and I guess I'll give you a warning if there's any spoilers. There might be. I'll give you a little warning so you can fast forward. But in the show, it basically follows two characters as they ruin each other's lives over what could have just been a basic road rage incident. Now, it's funny. I was just actually having this conversation about road rage with my husband. He likes to get in his car and drive fast. And I'm like, it's a lot going on. And he's like, yeah, I like to just release the tension. And for me, I'm very chill in my car. I see people when they have like these road rage incidents, and I never take it personally. I think my husband does take it personally. But for me, it's like people are having a bad day, and that has nothing to actually do with me. So when people have like incidents of road rage towards me, I never really take it personally. I'm always like, ooh, you're having a not so good day. That doesn't have anything to do with me. And then I kind of like block myself off from that bad energy. But these two characters, what's their name? There's Danny, the failing construction owner. He's got a construction company that is sort of floundering, and he's living in an apartment with his brother. He's in Struggleville for sure. But then on the opposite spectrum of that, we've got Amy, who is a successful entrepreneur. She's got her own business. She's on the cusp of selling her business for millions, and she is the breadwinner of her relationship, and her husband is at home making ugly poop sculptures, living out his best dream. And there's a very interesting dynamic going on there. And basically you just follow these two people as they make one bad decision after another and just choose petty level 10,000 at every opportunity that they possibly can. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We all have that friend who prides themselves on their level of petty. Actually, I don't have any more friends like that, because you know what? Those decisions add up. And I think a lot of the time we're like, oh, just be positive, law of attraction, yay, think positive. And people are like, But this show really is the epitome of what thinking negative and making negative choices time after time, how that just has this amazing compound effect of terribleness, really. Not only does the conflict start between the two of them, but it bleeds into all of their relationships. It escalates and ruins the lives of not only themselves, but several people around them. So yeah, when I was watching this as a life coach, I just was like wanting to scream at each one of these characters. Neither one of them, I mean, they're likable, but they're not likable. So like, the guy, Danny, he's on his way to return hibachi grills, which, this is actually so sad. He had bought these hibachi grills so that he could end his own life because he was so depressed about where he was. So clearly he's having a bad day. And as he's in the store, here comes Amy in her white Tesla, and she like honks at him, and he's thoroughly upset because they're arguing over a parking spot, and a chase ensues. And, you know, this is something where he's already having a bad day. And that's the thing I think I realize when people are just terrible and they don't know anything about me, I don't ever take it personally. That's tip number 1. Don't take stuff personally. you don't ever know what somebody's going through or what kind of a day they're having. And oftentimes what they're trying to emotionally vomit onto you has nothing to do with you. So he was actually had these hibachi girls because he wanted to take his own life, and he had changed his mind and returns them. And in this terrible twist of fate, he couldn't return them because he didn't have the receipt. And so he's mentally dealing with that. And then here comes Amy honking at him. And that sets everything off. So he is depressed because he has this failing relationship with his brother. He's got a weird codependent thing where it just really reeks of desperation on his part because he's trying so hard to connect with his brother, and his brother is just kind of repelled by his energy. And this desperation also follows into his relationships with clients. So he is repelling his customers and clients as well. Then there's Amy, who seems to have everything. And there's so much going on with her relationship with her husband. She is the breadwinner, and she actually goes to a convention and sits there as her life is falling apart. Literally, she's made terrible decisions throughout the film, and sits at a convention and looks at a room of other women, and it's like, you can have it all. Meanwhile, she does not have it all. And I think that, it's really tough. We as women, I think you have to have really strong boundaries in order to have it all. So she is very much in her masculine energy because she is the breadwinner of her household. Her husband is at home kind of doing his hobby art, and a lot of that burden is weighing down on her because you see this real desire of hers to be at home with her daughter and have that connection. But because she is the breadwinner, she is forced to be continuously in her masculine producing energy, and she is clearly just exhausted by that. And so then when the opportunity of Danny comes along, it's a place for her to release all of this pent up frustration at this life that she's built for herself that she's really finding out is not fulfilling. And I think we oftentimes have this idea about what our dream life looks like, but we don't consider the lifestyle that we want for ourselves and the values that we want. And we have to learn how to put up strong barriers around these things so that you don't get sucked into a life that maybe you're making lots of money, but it's not in alignment with your values because you want to be home with your kids. Or maybe you love the money that you're making, but you don't live the lifestyle that you want because you're working too much. So her life is really an interesting reflection of not being clear about what your values are and what the lifestyle is that you want for yourself. As an energy coach, I help people get clear about this because that's one of the biggest roadblocks for people is you build this huge life for yourself and then you end up unhappy because you weren't clear about what lifestyle you wanted and what your true values are. Me personally, being at home with my kids, they're little right now. I put that above everything right now because I want to be there to nurture them. And that's what my number one value is. That's why I'm here on the internet doing this instead of out doing other things, because this is something that allows me to spend that time with them. So yeah, George, he is clearly, I think, the epitome of a man who has a lot of feminine energy. He's, very in touch with that. He is the caretaker of the daughter. And on the surface, I think this is really celebrated and it's what we think we want in men. But underneath that, there's some passion missing. There's that raw sexual magnetism missing from their relationship, and it ultimately leaves them kind of vulnerable to outside influences. I think getting clear about what your expectations are with your partner, and you know, society really does confuse us because a lot of women look at their men and they want them to act like hairy women. And they are not. They are men. We are two biologically very different things. Energy-wise, you can animate masculine or feminine energy in whatever body you're in, but chemically and body-wise, we are different. And so we look to men and we are confused as to why they're not acting the same as us and thinking in the same ways. But the truth is, we are actually two complementary beings. So we are different, but we're not opposites, we're complementary. At least if you are a feminine woman who is looking to be with a masculine man. That's what I'm addressing here. This story is basically, at the root of it, two people who have no emotional control. Oh, gosh. Now, if I could wave my hand and give all of humanity any one skill that I think would change everything, is having more emotional control.